Good morning, everybody. And thank you. Yeah, now it's okay? Yeah. So while the presentation comes up, good morning, everybody, and thank you so much, Dr. Sami, and Mr. Shrikant and Mr. Praveen for putting this all together. More so that it's very good for people as in the ecosystem to keep running into each other, sometimes a second, third time, sometimes for the first time. It helps us all collectively grow. So from scaling clean tech, to keep it short, has also always been an issue. Dr. Sunny has given the importance of clean tech in our current context. And India today stands at the crossroads. It is one of the few spaces where we have done really well, and a lot more needs to be done. And today we have a wonderful combination of very established players, like Mr. Raghavan here from Ramki, as well as some startups who are sitting over there who are just fledgling in this field. So what do we require to do now? There are a lot of established players. There are also a number of startups who are out there who have got nice innovations, who have got wonderful innovations. Now, innovation is not the problem. Our problem comes with implementation. And there are certain bottlenecks which do not let the innovations bloom. There is a lot of ecosystem around, but however, the dots between the ecosystems need to get connected. Events like this, the pre-event and the main show coming up in July under the aegis of HITEX will be a major step in connecting those dots. And something really big will happen once those dots connect. So it's really a wonderful initiative. Way back in 2021, I think it was in Scotland, the Honorable Prime Minister of India had given a commitment of being net zero by 2020. We are well onto that space, maybe not totally, but we have done a lot since then. I mean, we are seeing around us a huge explosion when it comes to things like electric vehicles, renewable energy, solar electricity and wind electricity and all. So in certain spaces, we have done seriously well. On the environment front, a lot more needs to be done, which is very apparent. We see how North India suffers every year, and it's not far when it comes down further south, and we also get impacted by that. So, but nonetheless, where we have done well today, we have almost 180 gigawatts of electricity in the country, which is coming from renewable sources. In that, around 70 is from solar and around 40 is from wind. We have got other mandates by the government, like SEBI. SEBI requires a sustainability responsibility report to be given by the top 1,000 industries which are listed in the stock market. So these are new measures that have come in. These become mandatory. As these become mandatory, the corporate world has to pay more attention to it. They do pay attention to it from a social perspective, from a conscience perspective, and all that. It's not as if they're oblivious to it. But when it becomes a compliance issue, the push into it will be that much deeper and that much faster and that much more committed. So such initiatives have been launched by the government to give a boost to implementation of clean technology, to an effort towards sustainability, to a desire to use renewables at every step. So we are, keep the previous one. So yeah, we are seeing a lot renewable expansion at scale. So there is a lot of momentum. Yeah, please take it next. So as an incubator, as heading an incubator, I do see a lot of interest these days. Young startups are coming up with innovations for clean technology, for electric vehicles, for carbon capture, for carbon credits. A lot of initiative is coming up from there. And we have been supporting them around at least 8 to 10 startups. We have supported in this field one young boy sitting here, Saki Technologies, whose machine is put up here in Nursing municipality itself, though fledgling. Now, so that comes to the question, where does he go next? That is something that will be discussed in the coming part of the day. So there is a lot happening, and we have people in EVs, we have people in battery management system, we have people in battery recycling, which is a very untouched field. So their prototypes are ready, they are in the market, they are doing some small bit of work, but where do they go next is a big question. How does this scale and become really operational and impactful? So what happens is, hold it there. I mean, long pilot times, I mean, these are long gestation startups. They are very asset heavy in their deployment. There are a lot of regulatory compliances. Regulatory compliances, I'm sure, will ease out as days go by. We have a very proactive government which wants to do that. Procurement barriers are certainly there. A lot of minor things which are required have to be imported. They get stuck at the customs and it becomes an issue getting them inside. So startups do face these kind of problems, and that is where I think somebody like Sahaj and T-Works can step in to do that import substitution, with the fantastic infrastructure they have created in T-Works. So these barriers are there. So from innovation to implementation is quite a step, and it cannot be done by the startup alone. The entire ecosystem has to get involved in it. Entire ecosystem has to get involved in it. Yeah, next. There is a lot of infrastructure dependency. Compliance has to be there. There's capex intensity, multi-stakeholder. Multi-stakeholder is what is critical. So this interaction between young innovations, the opportunity that young innovations rather get to a POC scale, to a very working prototype scale, requires the whole ecosystem to support it. The ecosystem being the industry, the investors, as well as the markets. Now, without the support, policy rather, I mean more than markets, without the support of the entire ecosystem, these startups will find it difficult to scale. After all, this is not a B2C kind of a thing. This is not a consumer product. Okay. Yeah. So we require a lot of system integration. Yeah, let's go next. So we have innovation, we have industry, we have capital, and we have policy. The policy factor, like I said, will get taken care of. Governments are proactive. There are a lot of think tanks and there are a lot of feedback which is given, which will come in. Now, capital is sometime later in the day. Mr. Ratnakar is here from Hyderabad, the Angels. He can tell us what is the kind of bottlenecks for capital in this very, very new kind of a field. Industry has got a major role to play because they have the infrastructure. They have the capacity in a different way to promote. For example, as we were talking, sir, decarbonization, and Ramki is helping a lot of industries to do that. When industries decide to decarbon, that is when all the innovations that are out there will come into play, because somebody wants them. That is the market. That is where they play. So the thrust of a policy by institutions like SEBI, by the government, by the Ministry of Environment and all, industry wanting to do it for all the good reasons as well as for compliance, will give these young innovations a boost. However, there will always be this issue about where is the money going to come from to support them. Industry can support up to a certain level. The money is going to be an issue. Yeah, next. So The pilots and the testing and all can be done, the procurement. A good working prototype with support of the industry and institutions like T-Works can give the kind of credibility that will interest investors. And very obviously, we require a lot of patient capital as far as these investors are concerned, these investments are concerned. There are other agencies which also need to play their bit. There is a government, there is SEBI, there are other funds deployed for this purpose, who also would need to get a little more proactive in it. Industry on its own, especially the petroleum, the automotive, all the so-called polluting industries, can take their own initiatives about putting out hacks out there. They don't need to do all the innovation themselves. Put hacks out there, encourage competitions, hackathons in clean tech and energy-saving devices. It will certainly lead to a lot of new products coming into the market. So when industry shows interest, that is where the market validation comes in and investors will be interested. Yeah. So from a policy perspective, all this, we keep talking of the SDG goals. And it's a wrong thing to say we keep talking. These days we have gone beyond talking, and people are very, very committed towards SDG goals, not all 15, 17 of them. But every industry has picked up 2 or 3 of their prime areas where they would like to contribute. That, because they are committed towards it, will lead to a lot of growth in newer and newer innovations coming up. Infrastructure planning, yes. Now this requires a multimodal agency to decide to create infrastructure which is friendly towards sustainability and clean technology. I had occasion of meeting a few people. There were private companies in Gurgaon who were working closely with the Ministry of Transport in deciding how should electric charging infrastructure come up on highways, and and they were taking everything into consideration, cycle times, turnaround time, vehicle capacities, road capacity, and what kind of space is required along highways to create these kind of junctions where trucks can stop and all. So there is work going on that front, where the policy directive will come in and infrastructure will also come in a way which is supportive towards clean technology. On all fronts, not just mobility, on all fronts. There's a lot of push being given to e-vehicles, of course. I myself have in my incubator 2 startups who are working on e-vertical takeoff machines. I mean, not just vertical takeoff, we're into e-vertical takeoff machines. The market is showing a lot of interest. They are being approached by a lot of people for it. So that's a very encouraging sign. Tablet procurement, always a big aspect. Let us see where that goes. I wouldn't want to comment on that, but yes, across all the ministries and departments, there is a huge push towards it. Yeah, we'll take it next. So essentially, the thing comes to where is the money. So investors would want to see revenue visibility and other aspects more. Most, of course, the regulatory stability is very, very critical. We do not want, if we want big people coming into this field, we do not want incidents like what happened to, say, Vodafone. You can't have retrospective taxes coming in. You have to be sure that nothing is going to happen over the next 10, 12 years by way of policy that suddenly makes all that we have done very defunct and very expensive. So those kind of fears do exist, and that needs to be given thought to at a policy level. I am sure there are people out there who know that this is a threat and will do the needful thing as far as keeping a very sustainable policy comes in, which are not affected by governments and personalities. It's a policy and a policy. That is what will be required. Otherwise, clean tech will never really take off. Investors will still come in, but policy is very much required. When there is confidence in the process, when there is confidence in the system that this is how it is going to be, the investment will flow in. So that is about it. Yeah, then it is the whole ecosystem has to look at it. We are all VRL from a simple thing like throwing our cup into the waste paper basket till utilization of electricity. First, the desire to be sustainable has to rise from a very individual level, which these days we are all aware is quite pronounced in everybody to be sustainable, and people are happy to make conscious choices in favor of sustainability. So that one thing certainly has happened. One other very encouraging thing is that lots of innovations are coming up in the field, and now this base of innovations, the funnel, the pipeline, how it gets channelized with policy, with investment, with infrastructure is what requires to be really sorted out. Efforts are in place, but a lot more needs to be done on that front. Yeah, I think this is more or less the same. Yeah. So yeah, what I've been talking of all this while, everybody's aligned in the same direction. All the 4 pillars need to come together. So that is about what I wanted to discuss more from a perspective of starting off today's proceedings. So I'll leave it there. There are more speakers coming, and we have a wonderful panel for the panel discussion, and I'm sure more on each one of these topics will keep coming up. Thank you so much.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to MyStartupTV.